Yo, PC fam, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. Today, we are going to get into a whole lot of things, of course, basketball related. Chill, what's up, man? Well, obviously, just seen you a couple hours ago on the panel, but we back. What's going on?
I believe my man Ox calls it podcasting. That's what we doing. That's exactly what we doing. We podcasting. Some people call it working. We podcasting. That's what we doing.
Yeah. We podding. We coming with heat, y'all.
We PODing over here. Yes, sir.
Chill. OKC has made it very clear in this past week. They got their core guys. They're sticking with them, and they are going to pay that fee. They're going to pay what it costs, and they want these guys together.
Yep.
If in case y'all haven't seen, J-Dub just signed a 5-year, $287 million max extension with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City just spent over $250 million to keep their core intact. Chill. What does that mean for OKC? What does that mean for the league?
Well, number one, it means that they're serious about winning. We trying to hold on to our guys for as long as we can. That's number one. And in my head, Ox, I'm hearing Old Dirty Bastard. I'm hearing that chorus. Hey, dirty, baby, I got your money. Don't you worry. Hey, hey. And that's what Oklahoma City telling these boys. I got you, dough. Don't worry. We got y'all. Don't worry about it. We got your money. And to be quite honest with you, I think this is where we are. This is where we are in this space. And I think J-Dub, there's no way that you can let him as a restricted free agent on a rook deal go out and test the market. One, he's not going to get close to what you guys are paying him. That's number one. Number two, I don't want to lose him. I do not want to lose him. Even though I could play cheap and let him go out there and see what's available. Same thing I could have done with Chet. But in terms of smart business, that does work, because I am competing with myself because I can pay you the most. But what does that say about my organization when I'm trying to attract free agents, when I'm trying to sign free agents? What does that say about us when, even though as a small market we are conscious about our money, what does that say about us about not taking care of the guys that we raised? I don't want to do that. No, I absolutely not want to do that. And with J-Dub being a all-league performer, being an all-league defender, and then winning the NBA championship, and he's only in year 3, so he's going to get better as time goes on. I'm not one of these people that's, you can't assume that these guys are going to get better. I'm assuming that. 100% I'm going to assume that J-Dub's going to get better. I'm 100% assuming that Chet is going to get better. 100% I'm doing that off the strength that he has improved. And I don't think that's just going to stop in year 3. It's not. I think that he's going to continue to get better. I think Chet's going to continue to get stronger. If they can hold these 3 guys, which I don't think they're going to be able to do because of the CBA and because of how the CBA is constructed in the second apron, I don't think that they're going to be able to hold this group together. But if they can hold them together for as long as they can, it's a win-win for Oklahoma City. No doubt it is.
Right. My thing, Chill, too, with that, like, we talk about that a lot, about improvement. And my only thing is, I just don't like to assume exactly how much a player is going to get better from this year to this year, or what year they're going to improve, or exactly what is it they're going to improve at. But I agree with you. I definitely think J-Dub, Chet are definitely going to be keep getting better. I just don't know at what rate, and specifically what part of their game is going to improve. But I mean, OKC, the ownership, the front office, they've made it clear that they think they're going to keep getting better. They made it clear that they want their guys to be there. So, I mean, shout out to these guys. I mean, they're making money.
Yes.
And it's a new day in OKC.
And I also think, Ox, that it sends a message to the rest of the league that, we do take care of our guys. Even if we're not able to hold on to them for that long, if we're only able to hold on to them for a week, not for a week, for a season, for an extra 2 seasons, we do take care of our guys. And that resonates throughout the rest of the league. So when you got free agents that at some point, my dough is coming up, my contract is coming up, what are they doing over there in Oklahoma City? If I'm a prospective draft pick, right? I'm a prospect, I'm a prospective draft pick, and There's places that I might be interested in playing. Looking at what Oklahoma City has done with their free agents. Look at how they've developed players. Not only that, how they've paid these guys, how they've taken care of these guys. That's somewhere that I want to be. Even though, yes, it ain't Los Angeles. No, it's not. No, it's not Miami. No, it's not New York. But I tell you what, Ox, I'm more apt to say somewhere where I know for a fact they're going to look after me and they're going to take care of me than somewhere that's just because it's a bigger market that means it's going to work. No.
Could you see OKC down the road maybe regretting these moves?
Depending on health. Like if Chet doesn't pan out and he's made of glass, yes, this could be an investment that was a bad investment. If J-Dub just bottoms out and he becomes complacent with what he's doing right now, yes, I can see that happening. But I feel like the fact that these guys have gotten paid the way that they've gotten paid, barring injury, I just don't see them not putting in the work. I don't think that they get complacent and, we already won the NBA championship. I already got paid. Now I could just sit back and relax. No, I don't think that happens. I think that they could still make, like next season, I think that they could still make another deep run into the playoffs. And with TV money being what it is, and not just with TV money being what it is, what merchandise is and what this kind of stuff does for small markets, I think it really helps a place like Oklahoma City. And Ox, let's be clear. I mean, you're a businessman. If you could pay me $280, what you think you making? You ain't making $280.
Oh,
no. If you could pay me, if these three deals between these guys is equaling almost $900 million. So if you can afford to pay all three of us over the next 5 years, $900 million, that means that over the next 5 years, you're anticipating seeing double, at least $1 billion, $1.2 billion.
Right. I mean, you got to assume after a championship, tickets are going to cost a little more. No matter how much more, it's going to be a couple % more. Jersey sales are going to go up. You know what I mean? Just sponsorship deals, all different types of partnerships with different big companies that, all those things are going to happen, I believe. So, I mean, as far as that goes, money-wise, I'm sure they're not going to regret it that way. I'm just thinking about getting into those aprons and kind of how what the Boston Celtics just had to do with coming off of KP, Drew, and now most likely Al Horford as well. Yep. So that's what I mean more so. Do you think they might regret it in some taxes they might have to pay or financially, something like that,
Well, that's what it costs, Ox, to win the championship in the NBA. I mean, you're not winning on the cheap in the league. So I've already anticipated the fact that we're trying to win, that it's probably going to cost me later on down the line. And let's not forget that, okay, I'm tied to these guys over the next 5 years for this money. But if in the next 2 years, if this thing doesn't work out and we're not competing for an NBA championship and I got to cut ties, I will move on from these guys and I will retool. Oklahoma City has shown you in the past that they can draft well. They've shown you in the past that they can develop players. They've shown you in the past that they will hire the right coaches, right? Sam Presti has been not only fortunate, but he's also been smart in that. So with that being said, yes, Ox, it's going to cost me. And I might regret some of it, but we did win the NBA championship. So there isn't much regret. I'm not going to say that I don't have any regrets. Oh, because some of this is going to come back to bite me. To be honest with you, Ox, they may enter the second apron at some point. And they may look at the tax bill and go, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I'm going to have to step off this and I got to do something different. It's like sitting at that table, Ox, at dinner and the bill come. I didn't know it was going to be this. I got it, but we probably ain't doing this again. We probably not going to do this again. So
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was worth it for Boston. You know what I'm saying? They got a chance. They got a ring out of it, and then that ownership group, they sold for quite a pretty penny.
Sure.
So I can see OKC just building something as far as that goes. I'm not mad at it at all. I love it. So let's talk about LeBron James for a second.
Let's do that.
He opted into a pretty hefty deal this year, but there's still a lot of rumors, a lot of talking I'm hearing about him leaving the Lakers. Is that possible, Chill? Is that like forget about packages that you can send for Bron. Forget about what this team could do, what this team could do. Forget about where he would fit in. Is it possible to trade for LeBron James right now? Like,
Ox,
is this even real?
he left Miami when it was in the NBA championship 4 straight years. It's 100% possible that James could get traded. Now, the trade value, you're probably not going to get back what you're sending out because the money has to match. But just off the strength that it's James and the star power that he possesses, he's gonna get that in terms of revenue, whatever you gave up, he's gonna get that back. Now, I do understand the logic of, I still want to compete for NBA championships, but I feel like the Lakers are putting the Lakers are putting themselves in space where they are trying to do that. This isn't a situation where they're just sitting on their hands and they're doing nothing after we just got knocked out in the first round. Like I told you, Ox, bagging DeAndre Ayton fills a need that we had that we didn't. And that was a big need that we had. Taking care of that. Back in Laravia, that was a need that we had, a guy on the wing who I think is going to push Dalton Connect for those minutes. I think that the Lakers, I think James is looking at them going, okay, they are trying, and I'm looking at this roster. There may be another move that I think that they are going to make. I'm not sure what that move is, but I do think that there's another move that they're going to make, and they could very well end up with Bradley Beal in their backyard for no money, right? They could end up with him, which kind of is tricky for me because I'm thinking Bradley Beal might go there, or he might be looking at that situation thinking, well, I mean, I'm still a damn good ball player. If we do it, look at the bomb squad that he had. If we don't do it, he ruined Bradley Beal. And is that something that I really want to be a part of? I'm not really sure if that's something that I want to be a part of. Guys like Kawhi Leonard, when he passed on the Lakers, same thing with Jimmy Butler. I want to play against him. I don't want to play with him. But to answer your question, yes, it's definitely feasible that he could get traded off the strength of what it's going to cost other teams. It does not outweigh what we're going to make to have LeBron James on our roster because he's still a superstar in the game and he still attracts a ridiculous amount of attention. Your revenue, just having him on your roster, even at the ripe age of 40 years old, goes through the roof. Just having him on your roster, we get more TV games, we get more butts in the seats, we get more advertising. Just off the strength of having him here. That's not even talking about what we're going to do as a unit. Just having him here boosts our revenue. So, yes, it's 100% feasible and possible. But James is one of those guys, really quickly, Ox. James is one of those guys where he keeps us in suspense. There's always the, Ox, you know that girl that's always threatening to break up with you? She toxic as hell. Let's be clear about that. She 100%. She always threatening to break up with you, but she never does. But she always threatening like, you one more thing and just to keep you on your toes. She ain't really going nowhere. I don't think James is going anywhere. I think his roots are in Los Angeles. I think he went there. I mean, we're going into year 8, Ox. We're looking at almost a decade of being in Los Angeles. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing off the court is right here in Los Angeles. Now I got to pick up and I got to move to Phoenix or Cleveland or something like that in order to fulfill, still competing for a championship. Nah, I'm good. I'll stay
Okay.
here.
So 2 questions, Chill. First, on one. Shaq was in LA for 9 seasons. 8. So this just it doesn't really matter. But I'm just curious because a lot of the conversation when we talk about who are the great Lakers. A lot of times when people say, well, it couldn't be Bron because he was only here for this year. I think people didn't expect Bron to be around this long, right? And so they were like, well, no, it has to be this guy, So with Bron entering year 8, they won a championship. They got to another Western Conference Finals. Can we see LeBron James now finally being in that top 5 Laker discussion?
Nope. And the reason why is because I don't think he was ever. Well, number one, Bryant for the masses, Bryant is the gatekeeper, right? That's number one. Number 2, for James, I don't think he was ever really, even though they won the NBA championship in 2020, and they went to the NBA championship in not the championship, to the Western Conference Finals in 2023. I don't think he's ever really been accepted as a Laker, despite all the stuff that's going on. It reminds me of when Alex Rodriguez played for the Yankees. As good as Alex Rodriguez was, I don't think he was ever really accepted as a Yankee. He was awesome, and he played for the Yankees. And I feel like with James, I don't think he's ever really been accepted as a Laker. You look at the Laker greats. So Jabbar, Magic, Bryant, Shaq, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. I mean, that's just to name a few guys, right? And these are Lakers,
Right.
Not just Jerry West, James Worthy, Byron Scott, and he's better than them individually as players, no doubt about that. And he's also better than them as Lakers. But these guys are Lakers. James Worthy is a Laker. Byron Scott is a
Oh
Laker,
yeah.
right? Chamberlain, even though Chamberlain was there for 5 years, Chamberlain is a Laker. Like we classify Chamberlain as a Philadelphian, not necessarily a Philadelphia Warrior, as a Philadelphian, because he also went to San Francisco and then came back. I think James is more of a Cav than he is anything, whether it's
Yeah.
a Laker or Miami Heat. He's more of a Cleveland Cavalier. That's why they were more comfortable. It didn't sting as much when he left Cleveland the second time to go to Los Angeles, because one, he came back. Two, he delivered what he promised on, and he was awesome there. So in terms of him being an all-time great Laker, I do think that he will be an all-time great Laker, but to be in the same conversation with Brian and Magic and Jabal, right, guys like Chamberlain, Jerry West, no, I don't think he'll ever be in that conversation, because I don't think he'll ever be accepted as a legit Laker.
Right. See, Theo in the chat says that he needs one more ship. See, so the thing with that is, I believe if Bron had 2 ships right now, they would say, nah, he needs 3. You know what I mean? If he had 3, I believe they would say, nah, he needs 4. You know what I mean? And the reason for that, I think, is because what you just said. I just don't think he's necessarily accepted in LA as that. I think he's respected in LA.
Those two
you know
things ain't the same, Ox.
Like we respect you, but we don't accept you. You know what I'm saying? We got love for you, but you
come on in.
You came right after Kobe. You know what I'm saying? There'll never be another Bean. Especially, you know what I'm saying? Like there will never be another Bean. So I think that has a lot to do with it. My second question, Chill, because you brought up, you said Phoenix, you said Cleveland. Now I'm pretty sure those was just names that just came to mind. And Cleveland's Cleveland's an easy call for Bron. He's an Akron kid, you know. Let's say if Bron's not just selling wolf tickets, where is it? Because what we were talking about earlier, I forget the fella's name. I'm not gonna go look in it right now. But he posted that about the Spurs. Where could Bron go? Let's play that game. Give me three teams that make sense to you that Bron would actually go to. That would be good for him and the squad.
Well, I tell you one team that nobody's really talking about: the Clippers. I could see him playing for the Clippers. He could stay in Los Angeles, moves right down the hall. I don't think the Lakers would trade him to the Clippers, because I don't think that the Clippers could put together a package well enough, unless it was something like, if you give us Zubac back, well, they already got DeAndre Ayton, so that doesn't work. We'll take a 36-year-old James Harden off your hands. Yeah, we'll take a 36-year-old James Harden off your hands. We'll take we can't take Leonard, because Leonard is damaged goods. But I was thinking James Harden. I'm thinking maybe Chris Dunn. James Harden would be the prize in that deal. And maybe some draft picks, possibly. I can't see them giving him. This is a process of elimination, Ox. I can't see the Lakers giving him to the Warriors, because what end up happening is he'll end up retiring, going up there, and then they end up getting the farewell tour. Yeah. And I'm not trying to hear that. No, absolutely not.
That matters to the management ownership.
100% it matters to them. I mean, the fact that we can send him off in the fashion that we can send him off, and we can get paid like we can, like they did with Bryant, we could get paid for that. Oh my goodness, that was definitely something that they'd be interested in. I think that they would be interested in Sacramento, in a package with Sacramento. I think that they would be interested in that. If you guys would be interested in handing over Sabonis, if you guys would be interested, I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you guys would be interested in handing over Sabonis and or maybe Keegan Murray,
we wouldn't be competitive at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think Bron would allow that.
No, he wouldn't. So the 3 teams that I'm thinking about, Ox, I could see the Clippers, just in the Western Conference alone, because I think that's where he wants to stay. Right?
Okay.
I could see the Clippers. I think the Trailblazers, they already gave him DeAndre Ayton, so they're not dealing with him. I could see the Clippers. I could see the Spurs. And oddly enough, I could see the New Orleans Pelicans. I think that they would do it in a heartbeat, just from revenue alone. They would tell the Lakers what, like, unlike the Anthony Davis deal, they would tell the Lakers whatever you want for James, you can have it. That includes Zion. That includes Murphy, yes.
Speaking Anthony Davis, chill.
Hmm.
What about Dallas?
Absolutely. I think Dallas is straight. I do,
Yeah.
and because what it would cost Nico to move whomever they were moving, because it would cost a pretty penny to get James in Dallas with that $53 million deal. It wouldn't be something. It wouldn't be something straight up. It would be something where it would be like, I don't think it would be Anthony Davis. I think you could hold on to Anthony Davis, but you got to hand over the kid Lively. You may have to hand over
PJ.
Yes, you may have to hand over PJ. And I don't Nico's already got okay. Like I said, Ox, I just moved back into the house and I'm just getting back in the good graces with my honey. I already did some goofy.
Yeah.
I already did something nutty, and I'm trying to get back in the good graces with my honey. So what I'm not going to do is while I'm getting back in the good graces with her, because I got Cooper Flag, which by the way the Lakers would ask for Cooper Flag for James. 100% they would. So what I'm not going to do, Ox, is I'm trying to get back in good graces with my honey, and I'm back in the house. And a week after I'm back in the house, I'm right back in the streets again. No, I'm not doing that. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think that the Dallas Mavericks are out. No.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, it's a good conversation, good talking point, chill. But Bron's not going nowhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere, Ox. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. Bron's going to retire a Laker or retire in Cleveland. I think those are the only two options for it. And you know what? I think even with that being said, I mean, Bron has surprised me. I won't speak for everybody, but he's surprised me playing this long.
Yeah,
he might. You know what I'm saying? Bron might go ahead and get two more good years in LA, and then be like, you know what? I gotta go home. Let me finish it out here and get his farewell tour off. I don't know. I can't speak. I can't think for what Bron is gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Bron's one of those type of guys. So I definitely don't want to speculate too much on that. But it's good to talk about, definitely. Yep. What about Bradley Beal? Well, so that's about to be, that should be wrapped up soon, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It looks like that. It looks like they're getting close to an agreement on a buyout. Which Bradley Beal, I don't blame him one bit. I mean, he's still owed about $110 million. And Ox, I need all of my bread because I ain't gonna see this kind of payday again. I'm probably not. I'm 32 years old. I'm probably not gonna see a payday like this again. I'm not taking a huge haircut on this. No, I am not. One of two things is gonna happen. Either I get all of my bread, or at least 90% of it, or I will be to work on Monday. Because I'm not taking no 50% pay cut or 60%. No, I'm not trying to hear that. Because again, this thing is short-lived. And in the short amount of time that I'm here, I got to get as much bread as I possibly can. So once they finally do that, I think that there's a market all over the NBA for Brad. Number one, I love him with the Lakers. Not only do I love him with the Lakers, I love him in Milwaukee more than any place. Mm-hmm. As much as I like Gary Trent, I like Bradley Beal more. I think that as a bucket getter, I think that as a stop and pop two guard, I think that as a one-on-one player, I think that as an athlete in transition, because I don't give Bradley Beal nearly as much credit as I should as a one-on-one player in transition. I don't give him nearly as much credit as I should. I think he would be really good there. I dig him in Chicago with that Bulls team, that they're building something. So if you got Josh Giddey, you got Matas, and you got this kid Noah, I understand how a lot of you guys feel about Kobe White. I can see Bradley Beal running with Josh Giddey, who, by the way, Ox, this season, I'm saying it today in July, he's got my vote for most improved. I see 18, 9, and 8 coming this season.
Josh?
Yes, I do. I see 18, 9, and 8, something like that from Josh, close to a triple-double. He might not win a lot of games, but I see something like that from him. I think they're already straight in Philly because they drafted a two guard. I think they're already straight in Washington. The Knicks are good. Indiana, I don't think Indiana's trying to compete, and I think Brad wants to play somewhere where they can compete. I'll tell you what, Ox, I know how much Detroit believes in this kid, Jaden Ivey, and I get it. 100% I get it, which would explain why they didn't call up asking for Devin Booker. However, I wouldn't mind Bradley Beal on that crew in Detroit. I wouldn't mind him on that crew in Detroit.
I would love that, Chill. Yeah. I would actually love that. Honestly, I would.
On that crew in Detroit at all, because if you think about where their buckets come from, and I'm thinking about Bradley Beal as a bucket getter specifically, Ox. So last season, my bucket getter was Cade, right? My bucket getter was my primary ball handler, who was Cade at the lead guard spot. After him, you know who my secondary bucket getter was?
Mikal, right? I mean, not
No,
Mikal, Beasley.
Malik Beasley, correct.
Malik. Yeah.
And he was in the rotation, Ox. He
Yeah.
wasn't one of my
6
five
man.
guys. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in the rotation. So if I can get a guy like Bradley Beal to come in here and help, barring health, if I can get a guy like Bradley Beal to come in here and play off of Kay Cunningham, I think he'd be fantastic in that rotation. No doubt about it. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to screw up the development of Jaden Ivey. But remember where we are, Ox. We're in the Eastern Conference. And with being in the Eastern Conference and with the amount of parity that we have in the NBA, I feel like we close. And to bag Karis LeVert, right? In addition to bagging Karis LeVert, in addition to bagging Duncan Robinson, if I could get Bradley Beal on my roster to supplement for that, and maybe Jaden Ivey, push Jaden Ivey for that starting spot. I don't hate Bradley Beal in Detroit. I like him in Detroit. Those are some of the few teams that I'm thinking about. But Bradley Beal, you and I have had this conversation, Ox. Bradley Beal today, while I'm talking to you guys, is an awesome basketball player still to this day.
And also in Detroit, I mean, Jaden Ivey, I mean, he broke his leg last year. I'm sure he's going to bounce back fine. He's a young fella. I mean, he comes from a basketball background. You know, his mother's a hell of a coach. You know what I'm saying? She's, he comes from a basketball background. I'm sure that he's doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's gonna be okay. But with that being said, you never know how long that takes. I don't want to be the guy speculating on injuries. Right. So I wouldn't be mad at going to get Brad. And it might be time for Brad to just accept that he's a sixth man. You know what I'm saying? Seventh man. I'm not sure what Coach Bickerstaff would do if he was over there, but I think Brad would be a nice addition, though. I honestly do. And we've talked about Detroit and we've talked about how the East is opened up a little bit and Detroit being a dangerous team if they make the right moves. And I think that Karis LeVert addition, as well as Duncan Robinson getting another shooter over there. I'm not sure what's going on with Malik Beasley with all the gambling stuff and whether if there's going to be any suspension type situation. I don't know, but I mean, it wouldn't be bad to shore up that roster a little bit with Bradley Beal. I don't think so.
You've already said it to me. I wanted to wait to see what was going on with Malik Beasley, but after doing some homework, this looks ugly. It does. This looks ugly. This looks like this is something that's going to take a while, and it's not the kind of time that I have. I don't have that kind of time, so I got to move on. And I thought that this was something that was going to get wrapped up pretty quickly. I did. I'd be lying to you, Ox, if I didn't say that. But turns out this is something that's a lot worse than what I thought. So this isn't something that I can sit around and wait for. So if I could get Bradley Beal in the fold, I mean, I'm already looking at Malik Beasley like I'm out. I'm already looking at him like that.
Chill. Let's get to the title.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. It's been going around. I've been seeing it on on Twitter a lot, but we actually discussed this somewhat on the panel months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's SGA in 2016 Steph Curry, 2017 Russell Westbrook, 18 James Harden, and these were all MVP years, correct?
Correct. All four of them.
So it's kind of coming down to which one of these guys was better in the MVP year. So I'm in complete confusion in how Steph Curry got involved in this. Now, I don't want to disrespect the other guys and correct me if I'm wrong or just let me know if you disagree. I think Steph Curry's over here in a league of his own, and then we could talk about these other three. Sure. I don't know if you feel the same way, but let's get into that shit. What is this discussion? How did this discussion even come about? And is this even a worthy conversation to be having?
Well, number one, the caption is, and this is what has to be right. I feel like this is what has to be made clear. It said single season peak. Now, don't get me wrong, Curry was fantastic, but if you run down the line of these guys, so we'll start with SGA, MVP, check. Curry, MVP, check. James Harden, MVP, check. Russell Westbrook, MVP, check. So when I look at what when I look at what SGA has done over the course of this season, right? When I look at what SGA did over the course of this season, considering what he had to deal with, and then I match it up with what Curry had to deal with. Okay, so what's the separator between Curry and SGA? The separator is SGA got the job done. No, SGA didn't have to see LeBron James in the NBA Finals, but he did get the job done. He ended up completing the task of winning the NBA championship, which Curry can't say that. That doesn't mean that Curry wasn't absolutely fantastic, right? That doesn't mean that Curry wasn't absolutely fantastic as a player. 50, 40, 90, 400 threes, like that kind of stuff matters. No doubt about that. Led the league in threes. No doubt about that. That stuff matters. With that being said, right? With that being said, I don't think that James Harden should be in this conversation because I think that he had a better year. I feel like he had a better year the next year than he did this year. Does that mean that 18 was as good as SGA's 25? I don't think so. I think SGA was better in 25, and James Harden was awesome. I think Russ is the most valuable of these guys because I think that he had to do the most heavy lifting of all of these dudes. I mean, that crew that he was on in Oklahoma City, right? That crew in Oklahoma City that he was on. I mean, if you take away Russ, I mean, there were times, if I'm not mistaken, where this team had the worst offense in league history. And then to get that team into the playoffs and be competitive against that and be competitive against that Houston team, I mean, I think that speaks volumes for what Russ did for that team, right? So with that being said, it's the best single season peak that includes the entirety of the season. And I think because SGA completed the job, I would have to go with SGA off the strength of him completing the job. Curry is the best player of all of these guys. That part I won't argue that point. I think Curry is the best player.
Real quick, Chill. Yeah. Just because we are talking MVP, right? Who was the best? Who was the better MVP? Would it not be fair?
No, I just brought up MVP. I just brought up MVP as a caveat because that's part of it. Because I did lead the league in scoring that year too. Just like Curry led the league in scoring, just like James Harden led the league in scoring, just like Russell Westbrook led the league in scoring. We all went to the playoffs that year, right? And with us all going to the playoffs, we all did different things. And with us all doing different things, if I think about, Curry in the regular season and Curry in the postseason, I mean, Curry missed half of that Houston series. He missed almost half of that Portland series. So SGA was available during that time. And the job got completed because of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Curry wasn't more valuable than he was. Because, again, I think Curry here is the best player of all of these guys. And I think that there's a gap. I don't think that it's Curry, then it's SGA, then it's James. I think it's Curry, and then you figure out everybody else. But before you do that, then you have to deal with Curry. Before you figure out everybody else, just make sure that Curry, just make sure that you know that Curry is here. With that being said, I feel like that the job got completed, and because the job got completed, for what SGA did, losing Chet for 3/4 of the season, Hartenstein losing him for 2 months, not just losing Hartenstein, Alex Caruso being in and out of the lineup and missing 30 games, right? With all of that being said, for me to still play 77 games, for us to win 63 of those 70 games in the regular season with me in the roster, and then for us to roll in the playoffs the way that we were rolling, what he did in that game 4, the NBA Finals, where the game was in the balance, they end up losing that game, Mox. You told me about Aaron Gordon earlier today, where if Aaron Gordon that ended the series for you. Like even though the series ended up getting tied up, that ended up ending the series. If Indiana wins that game 4, they go down 3-1. I think the series is over, Ox. I think we're finished. And for SGA to do what he did in that specific game where he had 15 in the fourth and basically turned it on, no doubt about that. I think that that's fantastic. And the fact that he ended up finishing the job as sharp as he was, people will talk to me. I think Swiper talked to me earlier about Steph Curry having a 67% true shooting during that 15-16 season. I mean, SGA had a 64. So, I mean, the gap isn't huge, right? And even though I'm not a big fan of true shooting, because I think true shooting can be skewed, I just think that SGA, the fact that he completed the job all the way through, and in terms of a single season peak, I would have to go with him. I think that Curry was the best player, though.
Okay. And so it would be SGA, Steph, and then what? Harden, Russ, or Russ, Harden?
I'm gonna go with Russ and then Harden because I think that Harden had a better year next year. I don't think Harden should even be in this conversation to be quite honest with you. Because I think if we had
Really?
I really don't because I I think 19 Harden and 18 Harden, I think they're like I think there's a gap between them two dudes. I don't think that
Okay.
those two dudes are considerably close. Harden was literally unstoppable in 19. But as opposed to 18, as awesome as he was literally unstoppable. I hadn't seen anything like that from a guy in terms of being a scoring machine like he was since Jordan. And that includes James. That includes KD. I hadn't seen anybody like that in terms of just being a sheer bucket getter and taking complete control of the game. I hadn't seen anybody like that since Jordan, and this was in the 80s, early 90s. I hadn't seen anybody like that. I don't think 18 Harden should be in this conversation because I think he was considerably better next year in 19.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. So I want to talk to you about something else I seen online.
Yep.
And that was Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin was on I believe that was in Gil's Arena, and he was talking about something that I actually brought this up a while ago, and with Kenyon Martin talking about it, it just brought it back up. And I'm curious to know how you feel about this. I'm curious to know how you felt about it then, and if you agreed then, and if you agree now, or how you feel about it. He pretty much said that basketball is, in the NBA in particular, and basketball starting to be more geared towards kids that come from affluent households. Kids that are kind of more money, parents that can afford more things and afford these trainers and get into these camps and this and that, right? And NBA players, ex-NBA players, kids and things like that. So is there any validity to that? Because I initially, what I said initially was that they're trying to gentrify basketball. I 100% believe that they're trying to gentrify the game. I think they're trying to gentrify the NBA, trying to gentrify the basketball. They're giving so much money, not giving, they're paying so much money because they're earning this money. They're paying so much money. I think they want to make sure that they give that money, pay that money, I'm sorry, to certain types of people. If I will, right?
Yeah.
Is there any validity to that, to what Kenyon Martin said, and to the take I made back months ago?
My brother is a banker, and my niece plays AAU basketball. She's 15 years old, and this is all my brother talks about: the fact that he's got to shell out this kind of bread, he's got to shell out this kind of money. I got to go on a trip to Indiana, I got to take her to Pennsylvania, and we're going to upstate New York, and he's telling me what this costs. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when I was 15, all we did was find a park. That was it. That's all we had to do was find a park. And I don't just mean me. I mean, even just like maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that's all it was. You could find where a park is. You could find where some run is. And some stuff that some guys are doing, that's how you learn how to do that. See them do it, and then you go work on it. You either get it or you don't. There were no trainers, right? There were no nutritionists. There was nothing like that. I mean, I grew up on cereal and top ramen. That's what it was. Now today, it 100% has become more of a business to play basketball than it just is for fun. I mean, cagers, that's what they were called in the newspaper, cagers, because they played in a cage. I mean, that's what the link fences are. So that's what it was called cages for. And it was an inner city game. It's becoming way more gentrified. It's becoming way more money oriented for you to almost not be able to afford to play. All you needed was some sneakers and find a court. And when you told me that, when you told me that months ago, right? When you told me that months ago, my first thought was, yeah, Ox, I think because I'm still wrapped up in, kids just loving to play basketball. That's what I'm still wrapped up in. I'm still wrapped up in, Ox being 14, I'm 16, and we're going to go grab the ball and we just going to the park. I'm still thinking it's kids like that. It's the summertime. This is what kids do, right? No, it's not going on. You got organized practices now, and you got trips to different states. And it's not just about basketball anymore, which is something that you preach to me all the time. Like, let's talk about ball. Let's talk about basketball. And I don't think that that's it as much as it used to be. So
Right.
it's way more valid now when you said it than when you said it. Way more valid.
Right.
It kind of went in one ear and out the other. But today, and talking to my brother, I see where you're coming from with that. I do.
Right. Chill. I think, and honestly, I think like when I was growing up, I think I would say that maybe right before me. I think we were kind of the first kind of generation to really get into that big. Like basketball has always been big business, and youth athletics has always been big business. But I think sometime in the late '90s, early 2000s, I think things really started to change. You know, it was expensive then. I remember the first year I played AAU basketball, I was in the 4th grade, and it cost. I remember it cost my pops like, I think it was like, and we weren't traveling far. It was just real. It was still local, real local. We might move around in Northern California a little bit, but it was still pretty local.
Sacramento, stuff like that.
Yeah, Chico, Redding, all those areas, you know. And so
okay.
it was like 500, you know what I'm saying? Which is, you know, it's whatever. Some people, it's whatever, right? And then when I got to probably like the 8th grade, 9th grade, it was 2,500. You know what I'm saying? To be on the team. And that's not including travel. That's not including if your parents, your siblings, hotels, gas.
That's just the entry fee, Ox. That's just to get me in the door.
That's just getting on the team. That's just on the team. That's tournament fees. That's paying coaches and all that, right? So if I was pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? If I wasn't good, I wouldn't have been able to play anymore. You know what I mean? Like when I got to 9th grade, it was like, okay, you're on the team. Come on, you're good. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So once we start getting to teams that were sponsored, you know what I'm saying, Nike teams, this whatever, it was okay. But there's a lot of kids too that they don't, and you know, people that some people don't peak until they get their junior year of high school. You know what I'm saying? So, but you got to keep playing in order to peak. But those kids are being left out. They're not able to go move around because either they haven't got good enough to where a coach is like, oh, don't worry about it. This is a sponsor team. You know what I mean? And so they're getting left behind, you know, and it's like training, chill. I believe I told you when I went to Australia, I was training down there as well as playing. I was making more money training than I was just playing. You know what I'm saying? Like these trainers are cleaning up. I mean, they're cleaning up because what they're telling parents is it's better to pay me to train your kid to get a scholarship than it is to pay for college. It's just that's the sale right there. Boom. It's cheaper.
Investment. Okay,
yeah, it's cheaper. Invest right now with me. I'll get your kid a scholarship. And some of these trainers don't know a thing about what they're doing, right? And so it just kind of seems like it's more about the money now. And if you don't got the money, you're being left out. Kind of like how baseball, you know, it's like baseball, golf, and tennis and stuff now. So yeah, I heard him saying that, Kenyon Martin saying that the other day, and I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like this is
where and the thing is, actually, this is where we are today, and I do understand that because prime example of where we are right now on the platform that we're on, because of the social media era, because everything is more visible, and because everything is more visible, mixtapes and highlight reels and things like that are what attracts people. How many guys have ended up signing a scholarship to go play at such and such university off a 10-minute mixtape, right? Or for 5-minute highlight reel that's going on, and that's the space we live in. Well, you could be that too. Well, if you could be that too, if I get, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000 over the course of the year to train you. And this isn't to say that training is bad. I watch some of the stuff that Jordan does. Jordan is great at what he does.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I think Jordan is fantastic at teaching these kids the game, teaching them the details, teaching them the particulars. There's not a lot of guys out here doing what Jordan does, right? Being patient with kids, showing kids the ropes. But there's a lot of these other coaches, a lot of these other trainers, to be honest with you, Ox, they have no idea what they're doing. They aren't nearly as patient. To your point, they aren't nearly as patient. Not only are they not nearly as patient, they just here for the bread. They don't care about these kids. They couldn't care less about these kids. And I think that I feel like that's a stain on what basketball is. And now that we're in a space, like Kenyon Martin said, now that we're in a space to talk about this, you brought it up months ago. Now we get to see that, yo, this is really going on. These kids are being exploited for the bread. Basketball has now become, like golf, like tennis, way more expensive than what it was. All I needed was a pair of kicks, a t-shirt, and some shorts. Let's find a park and let's go run. And that's where we would be all day long. And it wouldn't be about any trainers or anything like that. But I think that's where we are now. And it's it's interesting that this is where the game is. This is what's happened to the game.
Right. Chill. And also, it's even more than that too, though, because a lot of these players that are in the league right now, and some of them that just go to different schools, they're handpicked. You know what I mean? And you get in. Now, I'm not saying that these kids are no good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that at all. Of course, you have to be able to be, but sometimes there's players that are better that get overlooked because this kid was able to go to that ABC camp. You know what I'm saying? This kid was at that Adidas double pump camp, the pump and run. They were at those camps back in the 7th, 8th grade. So somebody said, no, that's the one right there. Put him on this team. Boom. And then from there on, but in order for you to get into that door, you got to shell out some bread. Yes. You know what I mean? Somebody got to pay to get you there. And then it's kind of like, well, these are the kids right here because they've been chosen since the 7th grade. You know what I mean? And so that's why I say it's starting to be more gentrified because we know who's lottery picks when they're sophomores in high school. That's a lottery pick.
Just yesterday.
What?
Yesterday we were talking about. Yesterday they had brought up a player who is a draft prospect. He's still in high school on his way to college. I'm like, we doing this right now, and he's going into I think his senior year. He's either going into his senior year or he's going to college next year. And we're talking about him being a possible first-round pick in the 26th draft. Like, damn, this is where we are. This is where we are today. All right. Yes.
That's what's going on, man. That's
where we are. I get it.
Let me get to I got the super chat that's been here for a minute. Let me read this real quick from my man Cowboy Bob. He says, with all this news about Giannis leaving, would this hurt the league? I ask because we rarely see players not chasing the bag or championship. Where should he go to finish his career? I say stay. Go New York. Go.
He says stay too. He was literally on a live stream with I forgot the dude's name. He's one of them viral guys. He was on a live stream with him, and he said, "I'm probably going to stay in Milwaukee. Yes, for now." He says, and it does help, especially if Milwaukee ends up bagging Brad, which I think he's a great fit in Milwaukee. I think Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. No, I think he wants to stay in Milwaukee. And as long as Milwaukee can make the necessary moves to keep him happy and to keep him engaged, to know that, listen, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what we're trying to do to put the best possible team around you in order for you to have an opportunity to win. We're doing that. Well, if that's what it is, I think that keeps Giannis in Milwaukee. 100% it does. And as an organization, in terms of Milwaukee Ox, I can tell you right now, I ain't interested in moving off of Giannis in any capacity. No, I'm not.
Chill. If Milwaukee were to shoot some feelers out, right? Just shoot some feelers out, make a couple calls, let it be known, hey, Giannis is on the table. If they were doing that just to kind of see what they could get.
So we checking temperatures. So we just check.
Yeah. Do you think that would put a strain on their relationship with Giannis? Do you think Giannis would feel some type of way about that?
I think he would, depending on how it got out. Excuse me, depending on how it got out. If it was something kind of like what happened with Kyrie Irving, if it was something that he didn't know about and he was quietly getting shopped, and then it got out that he was getting shopped, well, you obviously aren't invested in me in the future, so I'm going to get my ass and get out of here now while I can. So I think that if Giannis, I mean, even though there's all this nonsense about him possibly getting moved, I think if and he had an agreement with Milwaukee, I'm not going nowhere, I'm good. But quietly they were shopping him, yes. And he found out about it, that they've been calling up other teams and checking their temperature on you. Yeah, I think that he definitely would have certain feelings about that, and he would look to get moved. Because if you already shopping me, if the right deal came along, you ain't gonna say no. So if you already shopping me, let's just get it over with. You already doing it, so let's just put it out there, and we don't have to be quiet about it, right? We don't have to be quiet. What I equated to is me, you and homegirl. Y'all ain't say nothing about it. It seems y'all good. Come to find out, she was on a date.
Yeah,
like she was quietly on a date, and you just found out about it. Like, you know what? I mean, if we doing that, then we might as well do it. Let's put it all out there.
Right. You've been texting him. You went to see him. You might as well go over there.
Go ahead.
Might as well.
Yes.
No doubt. Okay, I'll see what that is. We got another super chat from Byru. He says, "Chillin' Ox, salute from the U.S. Virgin Islands. My two favorite panelists, keep up the good work."
Home with Tim Duncan. Thanks, brother. We appreciate you.
That's what's
Absolutely.
up. That's what's up. Shout out to the Virgin
Absolutely.
Islands. You know, Chill. Just reading this, and you know, Chill. I try not to let things get to me. You know, I try not to be the sensitive guy, right?
Sure.
And you know, yesterday I think you kind of got it a little rough from the chat. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you're a celebrity, Chill. They on you. You know, so Chill today. I got it kind of rough from the chat. I even made the mistake, which I do every day. I'm a comment reader, right? I went back today already, Chill, and I'm getting cooked. I'm getting destroyed. And I try not to let it get to me, but I'm only human. Chill, I was a little upset about 30, 45 minutes before we got on Chill with Chill. Because I feel like when we did that draft today, I knew as soon as we did it, I was like, you know what? I'm choosing all older guys, right? I want to see how the chat's going to respond to this. But I got Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, I'm like, this is a squad. But the guys in the chat, the comments, they seem to think I was trolling or rage baiting. I'm like, yeah, I might have wanted to see how y'all was going to react, but I didn't think you was going to react like this. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to rage bait. I thought I put together a competent basketball team. I don't know, Chill. Do you think that the team I put out there, do you think that was just a trash squad? Did that look like I was trolling to you?
Ox, when you told me about I got Doc on one end and I got Chamberlain on the other end and I got Jabbar trailing, I was like, wait a minute, that ain't fair. Hell no. We can't have that. Hell no.
Right,
that is not, there's no way that's fair. Because one, if we got Doc who ran like a deer, Chamberlain who ran like a gazelle, just bigger, and I got Jabbar who also was awesome in transition, who didn't even want to play like that, but now is playing like that, and he's awesome in transition. If I got that, I forgot who your point guard was. I know you had.
I had Bob Cousy and Oscar.
And I got Bob Cousy, the Houdini of the hardwood. You know, doing this and doing this. I'm thinking to myself, well, how the hell are we gonna slow that down? And then when we get in the half court, it ain't news that Bob Cousy knew where the pill went. Bob Cousy was not one of them dudes who was like Kyrie Irving or Russell Westbrook, where he was consistently looking at the basket. He knew where his bread was buttered. He knew that if he saw Chamberlain on that box, he going to him. He knew that if he saw Jabbar on that box, he was going to him. And on top of that, these guys in all different ways, they could score. But the way that you had mapped out how you wanted to play, I'm like, that's perfect. Rebound, because we're gonna dominate the glass. I got Jabbar and Chamberlain. We dominate the glass. None of y'all doing, and I got Duncan and Olajuwon, and I felt like y'all gonna dominate the glass. Okay, so I got Jabbar and Chamberlain. We're gonna dominate the glass. I got the Houdini of the hardwood. That's all he want to do is run, right? I got Doc, who was basically a high wire act. Hell no, that's not trolling. I meant what I said when I originally said, I'm like, Ox, that's not fair. I was dead ass serious. Like, no, we're gonna break this crew up. Hell no, we ain't having that. No way. I don't think so.
Well, you know, it's no big deal. I was just curious to see if you thought I was trolling with that list, because I 100% was not. I really tried to put together a competent team, but I chose older guys on purpose. You know, I just wanted to have a little fun with it. You know, I don't have much interest in trying to win something that can't be proven that you won. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can't prove that I won, I'm not really tripping. I'm a competitor. I want to compete, but if we can't really compete, then let's have a little fun with it too. That's all.
It's a hypothetical. We was just having some fun. That's all we were doing.
Right.
Great, guys. Relax.
No doubt. We have a couple minutes left. We got a couple of guys in the lobby. Let's pull them up. Let's see what's going on today with the guys. First up, we got my man Cowboy Bob. What's up, Cowboy?
Salute. I'm just gonna be real quick, but I did like your team. And another thing that most people don't realize is, didn't my dude play? Didn't they win a championship together? Kareem and Oscar with the Bucks.
Yeah,
71.
So if you look at that chemistry, plus with what you also have with the bigger guys, I think honestly everyone didn't see how they had ball control, because back in the day it was about controlling the ball, not creating turnovers. A lot of people want to see dribble, drive, bing, 1-2 hits, crossovers. That's what they want to see. So in today's game, they think he's BSing, but not. I think that your team would have won, man. Come on, look at the guys you got. You got guys who are fast. You got guys who can run with the best of them. You got them. They all play defense and they're big. And in today's game, with how the floor spacing is, where it's not clogged in the paint and they're going against 4 or 5 guys, they actually have they could do one-on-one coverage. Nobody's gonna get by these guys. You're not gonna get a shot off. But I just wanted to say that. And Bob, yo, keep up the good work. And you guys are awesome, man. I'm on here because of y'all. Thank you. And I don't care what anybody say. Y'all keep up the good work. Go
That's
New York. Go New York. Go.
All right, brother. Good to talk to
All
you.
right,
Wait, Cowboy, don't leave
Yeah.
yet. Cowboy, hold on one second, real quick. I want to ask you, are you good with the Mike Brown move?
Honestly, I am, because of what he's able to do with Fox and what he was able to do with Sabonis. And I kept telling y'all, you got to get Cat involved in the high screener roles and have him and Brunson play that way. And the style of play that he did in Sacramento, I think that he's going to bring here and it's going to help us. Plus, we already got better defenders than he had. So I think OG's going to get more offensive plays. Like it's going to be more of a 5 and out. But
Mike Brown
I want to
loves
see.
him, by the way. He
Yeah,
loves OG.
I want to
He
see
loves him.
Hakim Dadier and Ariel Huckaporty. Those are the 2 guys I would look out for, because
Okay.
Ariel, what people don't realize, when he played his 10 games before he got hurt, he had 2 blocks each game. Like
Nice.
every game, he had 2 blocks, and he only played 5, maybe 7 minutes.
Mhm.
So when you really look at the potential he has, plus he played against Asir Thompson in the European League, so he has experience. So
Bob,
it's not
you
like
ain't gonna
he's just
get
a rookie kid.
Cowboy. You ain't gonna get no more minutes until I get that hat back. I told you what I told you.
I know. I got to get a new one, man.
Okay, man. I told you. You can't come up
I
here
know,
unless
I
that
know.
hat is
You
on.
told me I
Come
look
on,
like
B.
the Wicked Witch, though, so I can't go out looking like
Because
that.
that other hat was whack. Nah, that wasn't
Exactly.
the Cowboy Bob hat. No,
So
that
I'm
other
gonna
hat was
get me
whack.
another one next weekend. I got y'all. Peace,
Thank you.
man.
All right,
Cool
Cowboy.
running.
Absolutely.
1 second, 2 cents. I'm pulling you up right now, fam. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think Mike Brown was a good call, Chill. I think that was a good move by them. I like it. I do.
I just think that they already had a coach. I dig Mike Brown as a coach. I think they already had a coach. And
in the chat, I see who's that? Kilpy. I'm not sure how you say the name. Said Mike about Mark Jackson getting blackballed. Now we've talked about it before, and I said it already. I like the Mark Jackson talk. It's pointless to have. I think
really
he's
is,
completely blackballed. I think he's through. Chill. Do you think Mark Jackson wanted that gig?
I think he still wants to coach. Yes, I do. I think quietly, if somebody called him and it was the right situation, particularly what's going on in New York, if they would have called him and asked him how he felt about coaching the Knicks, he would have done it. 100% he would have done it. I do think that there's still some feelings there about coaching for Mark Jackson. Yes, I do think he would have done it.
Right. Okay. Right on. Let's keep it going. We got a couple guys left in the lobby. We'll get to both of y'all. Let's see. We got 2 cents. What's up, 2 cents?
What's up, fam? How y'all doing?
What up?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna just break down some basic facts on things about the game of basketball in reality. This is the same reason why I listen to people talk about sports and things like that. Is the reason why some people are not allowed, like kids. You don't want them getting exposed to certain scary movies or violence and things like that, because their mind cannot comprehend it. They actually think it's real. And they actually think it's real. But guess what happens? The children that parents didn't care, didn't raise them in that way, they become adults and they get on panels and they'll start speaking to you because they don't understand that if I watch the movie, they really think it's still entertainment. Basketball is still entertainment.
Yeah.
And I really look at the game of basketball. I don't like boxing anymore and all that kind of stuff because I know how fixed it is. But guess what you can do as a content creator? I can create an endless argument by doing what? Creating a hypothetical. Shaq versus Wilt or something like. It's an endless argument. So yeah, it's fun.
By the way, which can never be proven, by the way. But to your
exactly.
Point,
yeah, it's the hypothetical things, but it's fun to watch sometimes. And sometimes I'll be listening to people trying to prove their point. But some things that's opinionated is factual. If I say LeBron got the most points and stuff like that or whatever, and you say Muggsy Bogues is better and stuff like that, it's still an opinion. So it's hard to sit there and listen to somebody's what we call nonsense. But yeah, it's still their opinion. And I appreciate y'all when y'all be on the panel. I be seeing the pain in y'all face, sitting there listening to nonsense because they only know what they know. They have a certain frame of reference on what they know. You just got to let them go and just try to educate them on what it is and what's going on. And this is still entertainment. Movies are not always real. Rappers are not always rapping about things that are factual. And once you realize that, you'll understand this game of basketball in this betting era. That's all. I just want to spew that out real quick. But no questions or nothing like that. But it's good to see y'all on, bro.
Brother, you know where to find us at. Absolutely, my man.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the input. With that being said, you know, I feel like on the panel we got a lot of knowledgeable ball knowers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of logical ball knowers. For me, even when I disagree with certain people, I try to see where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Some, you know, I try my best to do that because I do have sometimes I get in a little over my head and I get a little upset and I try, you know, I try to keep it hoop, you know what I mean? Try to keep it light, you know what I mean? I don't want to take it too seriously, you know.
Yeah. I just what I don't appreciate, Ox, is I don't appreciate the whole quote unquote emotional thing. Yo, we people. We are people. What the hell? We are people.
You know how I get chill. I get emotional about this. You call me what you want. I take this shit. I take basketball very seriously.
People.
But I try not to take it too light. I try not to get upset. You know what I mean? But it's hoop. I can't. I grew up on it. You know, I grew up on it.
People confuse rage bait with passion. Let me break.
Right.
I just talk loud. That's who I am. I talk loud. That's just how I am.
I'm not rage baiting nobody, man. I'm just trying to get my takes off. Let's keep it real quick. Let's try to knock these out real quick, y'all. We know today's only an hour show. Claire did give me your blessing to go a couple minutes over, so we're gonna try to wrap these up real quick. Let me see. We got a new face around here. Trey Young owns. I can't read the rest of your name, brother, but go ahead. Let's see what's up. Let's get you in here. What's up, man?
What up?
Yo, what's up, guys?
What up?
Good.
Yep.
Okay. I have a question. I've been thinking, what is the thing with the contracts in NBA?
What do you mean?
How can you argue LeBron or some player like that is trying to win when they take that big contract?
Well, how can you argue that they're trying to win when they take that kind of money?
Are LeBron worth all that money, for example?
He's actually worth more than that, to be honest with you.
Is he worth more than that?
Yeah, he's worth more than that because remember, this is business. And not only is it business, you are in the business of making money. And the money that they make, if I can pay you $53 million, what do you think that the Lakers are making? The Lakers are making that times 10. It was the NBA that came up with the salary cap to limit these guys. Now, the idea of LeBron James is not trying to win. He was the highest paid player in the league when they was in the finals in 2018. He was the highest paid player in the league.
Okay, I see. But the way, of course, he deserves the money, maybe in terms of in that perspective. But why is he taking the money? He has the money already.
Why is he taking the money? Why wouldn't he take the money? It's there. You would take the money. I'm not going to see this money again after 40 years old. You think I'm going to leave at 40? You're at 40 years old, and you're going to let's say at 40 years old you got in the bank $500 million.
In all, of course, he can earn that more than that money.
Here's the thing. Let's just say for the sake of argument that that $50 million that you talk about, let's say he cuts that in half and he takes $25 million. What are the Lakers going to do with that money? Who's available for them to get with that little bit of money? Because it's not like now they open up another max spot or something like that. No, they don't. And on top of that, they're not going to get anybody. One more time. They got role players. They got Jake LaRavia. They
can get bet.
You just said role players. Is Jake LaRavia a role player?
Is he good enough?
Is DeAndre Ayton a role player? Okay,
but is he good enough? But okay, how much did Miles Turner go for?
Miles Turner went for $100 million.
Is that 25, 20?
Now think about what Milwaukee had to do in order for that to happen. You can get
Miles Turner for that money, LeBron.
Think about what Milwaukee had to do in order for that to happen. Milwaukee had to eat Dame's deal and spread it out over the course of 5 years in order for that to happen.
Yes, but still.
This is really, you know what this is really about? This is really about you hating LeBron James. Just say it. You don't like LeBron James.
No.
100%. Because there's plenty of
Are
guys
you
in the league.
a hater?
Oh, 100%. Let me tell you. Let me
Listen.
tell you why he is, Ox. Because how come you don't say why doesn't Bradley Beal take less money? Why did Devin Booker sign that $150 million deal in Phoenix? Why is this about LeBron James?
I used that as an example. But still, Jalen Brunson, he takes less money for the team. We see what he does.
What did he do?
He's better than Cat.
Wait.
He takes less money.
Okay, wait a minute. Rewind. Jalen Brunson. What did it do?
Less money, right?
Okay, what did it do?
He got the team better. The team got better.
They were in the same position that LeBron James was in 2 years ago. They was in the conference finals. What are we doing?
You argue that the team got better after he did it? They were able to get better?
Were they able to get better?
Because of the pay cut?
Okay, so he took less money. Did OG Anunoby take less money? Did Cat take less money?
That's the thing. I'm not saying you're supposed to do it. If the money's on the table, why say no? I get it. It's agents involved. They need to get their share. They want to get the higher money. But still, I mean, if you only argue winning, Ox, you're the winning guy. Come on. If you only argue out of winning, you already have money on the bank, like LeBron, like Jalen Brunson, the big players, KD. Why not take a small, like CP3, of course, maybe earlier. Why not take a smaller money in the bank account?
If James took less,
smaller contract and play with better players. Like in football, soccer, you never have to worry about the money. You can always build a good team.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean,
that's the same thing with taking a smaller role. A smaller role is not only on the court; it can be with the salary as well, and you still can use you on the court.
That's an interesting concept. You know what I mean? So I hear where you're coming from, but you know, you can't tell nobody how. You know.
Yeah, sure. Of course, you can. Of course, you should take the money. But if you say value per dollar for the salary cap, it's a bit inflated. Some of those positions, MPJ's contract, we have too many shit contracts in NBA compared to like good value contracts. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. And real quick before we let you go, I was just curious.
Sure.
Do you tap into the panel to the player's choice? You watch the content quite often, or you new?
For sure. I've been watching like for 3 years.
Okay, right on, man. Right on. I'm happy you put up
when it started, the ticket days, only the panel, not the OG days, but from episode 1 on the panel.
Right on. Where you from, bro?
Sweden.
Sweden.
Nice.
Right on. Right on.
You know,
Happy to
Pelle Larsson, Miami Heat, he coming next year. Bobby Klintman, Detroit Pistons. Come on.
Okay.
We'll be looking out for him, bro. Appreciate you pulling up.
Shout out to Sweden.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, brother. No doubt. That's what's up, Ron. We international.
Yeah, no doubt. Chill. I know we gotta go. I got a Hall of Famer in the back.
Bring him.
Let's pull up my man multi Kenny. Let's see what my man got to say today. What's up, Kenny?
They got me with my eating.
It's all good.
This dude, I got the ice cream. I only brought ice cream for him.
My fault. But
what up, brother?
I know I caught you guys it's been a minute since I've been able to even come into a show. But I want to say real quick, just trying to get y'all out of here. I'll see if I can come through tomorrow. I thought you were cooking with your team that you drafted today. Once you described it, at first I was like, I think he's just going with a theme, but then he's like, you know what? I know what this identity is. We gonna get out, we gonna go. We ain't gonna worry about all this extra stuff like everyone else's campaign. And you're like, nah, we about to just run up and down the court and we're gonna see what happens. And I appreciate the real, I appreciate the realness when it came with that. And then overall, you know, I've been catching up on stuff because I was actually on vacation. I was up in Alaska, so I was watching the panel on crappy cruise Wi-Fi, and I've had to like rewatch stuff because I was just missing it out. But how do you differentiate within you guys? Because I was going back to this past episode between like the different tiers of a score. Like, what is the criteria that goes from tier 1 to like tier 5? Because it started seeming like it was getting really conflated when people were arguing which one or what player goes into like what tier.
So I think with tier 1, I think there were some guys in tier 2 and in tier 3 that could have been in tier 1, and I think that there's some guys in tier 1 that could have been in tier 2. That to be honest with you, I do want to close the door at some point. Like, we got 5 guys. We gotta make a decision. To answer your question, I think that 1, I've always felt like in terms of tier one, star power is very important. 2, what you do and what you bring that nobody else brings. 3, what Ox talked about, like when we get to games where we need you the most, can you do it? What your ability to get us over the hump? Can you do that more often than anybody else? I'm a huge guy when it comes to my best player is better than your best player, because a lot of times it comes down to that. And I feel like those are the tier one guys.
But yeah, so I don't understand the push. If that's, I understand everyone has different definition for that. But what I was listening to, I was like, it's okay to have a lot of guys at tier one, because there's a lot of guys that fit. Not a lot of guys, but there's a more than 4 or 5 guys that fit that description. Like,
Sure.
I was the type of person where I didn't understand the pushback for someone like Dirk, for someone like Shaq, and people said, "Oh, if we're letting LeBron in, we gotta let other people in." I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Like, there's, I think a tier one score includes those guys. It includes
Sure.
guys like Steph. It includes guys like Dirk. I think when you start getting where it starts getting complex, I think it includes guys like James Harden. Even if you don't like it, I think it includes guys like James Harden. So it's one of those things where when there's that argument, it's just if you have that criteria of a star level score, being able to give you something that not many other people can do, that opens it up, especially for how long the league's been around. That's going to be, you're going to have probably 10 guys in that tier one. Doesn't dilute the fact that there's clearly levels within a tier. There's still that too. There's always levels within a tier within anything.
Fair enough.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, let's we can come to an understanding, everybody. Let's come on now.
You know what though, Kenny? I'm gonna tell you like this: you are a Hall of Famer. You hold weight in the PC community. What you need to do is you need to reach out to that L host Ron and tell him that he needs to make sure that we have the criteria out, print it up. You can put it on. You can put it on a whatever, pull it up, pull up the picture of it so everybody knows what the criteria is. No more guessing. No more letting panelists go back and forth like, well, this is no. This is the criteria. Kenny, you and the rest of the Hall of Famers, y'all come together and you holler at that L host Ron and tell him.
Kenny, we box him when I see him. When I see him, I'm swinging on him. I'm swinging on him when I see him.
Yeah,
box, no doubt.
But all right, though, Kenny, we do got to get out of here. I appreciate you pulling up, brother.
Absolutely, brother. Good to talk to you.
Hey, no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Y'all know what it is on Thursdays, y'all. It's a shorter show. I know I got a few of y'all in the lobby still, man. Y'all should have clicked the link a little earlier. But like I said, we'll be back day after tomorrow at 12 Eastern. Y'all know where to find us. Click that link when I send it out. Of course, we always want y'all to come kick it. This is your chance to chill with Chill, to come up here and talk hoop. We love the input. We love the takes from the subscribers, the viewers, everybody. So y'all make sure you click the link. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Click that link, pull up. I'll get you up here. Y'all can chill with Chill. We can talk some hoops, man. But we're already over. Y'all see Cheerio in the comment pretending like she's not tripping. If I showed you these text messages right now,
she just hit me twice already.
Yeah. But all right, man. We'll see y'all Saturday. Chill.
Gotta wrap it up. We'll see you guys soon. Y'all know where to find us at. Me and my big fella over here. Thursday and Saturday. This is where we are. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. I literally just seen my mother a couple of days ago. Call your mother. If you're ever in the Portland area and you had too much to drink, my big fella will make sure that you get home. He got you. No doubt about that. So we will see you guys soon. Until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. Good to see you guys.
All right, y'all. And I don't want to be an L host, y'all. I want to make sure to remind y'all to pull up the playback here in a few hours. Make sure y'all come watch the Lakers take on the Dallas Mavericks. And then on Sunday, the 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern time, get on the PC network and watch the press box. You'll see my main man J-Rob, my man Bama, and of course Swiper talking everything football. Y'all get there. Don't be late, man. We'll see y'all next time. Appreciate you. All right, y'all.
Later.